Well, hello and welcome back to another Sierra Talks Books with Authors, where today I have a special guest, Jaqueline Snowe. Hello, Jaqueline.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, you are one of the first published authors in the Sarina Bowen's World of True North in the Moo You series line. And so we're going to talk about that as well as some of your other books. But first, I want to start us off and get to know you a little bit better as an author and writer. So if you wouldn't mind sharing with the listeners here, when did you decide you wanted to start writing and publishing your books?
In 2017, I was like, okay, like this is something that I want to do. So I bought all of the books, like the how-to, the like romance writing for dummies. I've always been an avid reader. And so even just as a teen, I would spend all of my money on books, on romance books. And so it just started happening. And then I was like, hey, I really like this. Like this is fun. It's a way to escape. I don't do it full time. So I do have a full-time job.
Okay.
And so it started for me as just a way to kind of escape reality and just dive into the character stories. And then it's just kind of exploded from there. So it's been about almost 4 years since I started.
Do you have any advice for other new authors coming into the world?
So one is I hear this all the time and I truly believe it, is just read a ton. This is one of the cool professions where like you can like research is just reading more books, and that's enjoyable, where like I work in education. So typically research and education is not as fun. So like when you are trying to be, improve your craft, just read everything you can. But the thing that changed for me the most of when I started being way more productive, like I could set a word count goal for a day, was just finding the time of day where my brain is most active.
Yes.
And that changed once I started doing in the morning. It changed. Like I was writing 2 to 3 times as much as I used to when I would try at night.
Yeah.
Because I was just so tired. I wasn't motivated. It just, it was like every word was tough, where in the morning they just fly out.
So let's talk a little bit about the World of True North.
Actually, it started with the book Heartland from Sarina. And there was just some conversations about the model for that book, which is very eye-catching. And so I was like, okay, yeah, this book looks good. I'll read it. And much like all of the stories in the world, you can read one not necessarily having to read the others. And so I was like, okay. And what's the reason why that book's actually one of my favorites is the trope of that is a virgin heroine. And that normally isn't one I like. Like that's not a go-to. That's not an instant buy for me. But it was done so well that I was like, wow, okay. So that story definitely pulled me in just to the world that she created. And then last summer, right, peak pandemic, just a lot more time online than I'm sure we all can agree with that. I saw the like, hey, she's doing this thing. If you want to be involved, fill out this form. And then it just kind of heard back, and then everything just started happening really fast.
Gotcha. She has 4 different series lines. One is the first one is the Moo You, which is the college hockey. What drew you to Moo You?
Yeah. Ooh, that was a fun rhyme. Yeah. So really just sports romances. That is, if I had to describe my brand, that's what I would say. I've only done 2 books outside of sports romances, and I just find myself always coming back to it. I can try not to, but then references start coming in. There's even just some sort of laid back, like it's just a part, like our family is very much sports dominated. And so it was really just that. And I love the college age romances. That's one of my favorites to read. They're comfort reads, just that. Yeah. I don't know, just the forced proximity of being on a college campus and stories just really makes everything so much just richer.
You said most of your books are sports romances. So your husband works for a professional baseball team?
Yes.
So is that why you started writing a baseball series line, or?
So kind of. When we first started dating, we were dating, I don't even know how long we've been together. 13 years. We've been married 7, but we were together a long time. And when we first got together, we were diehard Cubs fans, again, from the Midwest. So every summer, we would go to so many Chicago Cubs games. When they won the World Series, we both cried. We had champagne. We actually flew back just to hang out in Wrigleyville. And so baseball has just been a part of our story. And so and then avid fans. And so when he started working for an MLB team, again, we season ticket, like we go to games all the time. We watch every game if we can't go. And so it just became a part of, again, our family culture is baseball. Yeah. And so it was very natural to write about. Just like as they say, write what you know. And then if you sometimes you have to research and spend hours, right, getting more information about things. But with baseball, I can just be like, hey, is this the right rule? Like, am I misquoting this? Or like, actually, what's the process for reassignment? And so then he can just fire it off immediately. And so it does help knowing that I have that inside source.
Definitely, you have that resident expert. That's so cool. Part of the review line is about a college hockey player, Jonah, and his roommate, Ryann, who is not a guy.
Correct.
So he's a hockey player. So was there anything that you had to do in terms of research to come up with a storyline? And
so for that, we're also like, after baseball, hockey is our next level in our house.
All right.
And so especially just living near where the Arizona Coyotes play, we've been to a few games. We watch them when they're on. And so the biggest thing for me was learning college hockey instead of, because there are some differences. And so I did lean on a lot. So the first two groupings of authors for MooU, we have a group chat basically where we would just run something by the group, or just like, hey, is this true? Like, how does the draft actually work? And those ladies, they are significantly more knowledgeable on hockey than me. So it was very nice to be able to be like, did I just make this up? Like, is this even a real thing? Right. So leaned on them a lot for that, because I just don't have that innate base knowledge like I do with baseball.
Exactly. I had that problem too. Let's talk a little bit about your book. Let's talk about the premise and the storyline and the characters. What do you want to share with readers about it?
About Holdout. So I do have it here. I am obsessed with the black and white covers and the splash of the black and white colors with the splash of green. I am very proud of this book. So the biggest thing about this is writing has ups and downs of when creativity and motivation come. And so I recently I have an 18-month-old. So I had a son, and for a year, I just couldn't write. Like I was either too tired, or pretty much too tired to do anything but just do basic human function. And so this was kind of right in the middle of the pandemic, where my job actually merged. So I do like curriculum and technology. And so right when everything happened with COVID, I was working crazy hours. And this was kind of like my love letter back to writing. So it was like, it's full of emotion. It's like the importance of family, the importance of just communicating, about like over communicating. That was one of the things that I got feedback on a lot, of just like how much they talk about everything, and just it kind of made me fall back in love with writing again after a year slump because of, just life circumstances. It wasn't necessarily a personal choice just to not write. But I really I love the idea of a sunshine and grump trope. That's probably my favorite one to read and to write. And so it just kind of started from there. Just these two people were 100% opposite. I love the play on the names, like accidentally confusing names, right? In the world of technology, people like, you can misspell, you can misread something, like your eyes can train, it's so easy to miscommunicate in a virtual world, that these two people accidentally ended up as roommates, thinking they both were like I'm just going to room with some girl, or I'm just going to room with some dude. And it did not happen.
I love the forced proximity as well, because they are forced together for various reasons as roommates. And that's always a fun dynamic.
Well, and he is just, his character, like they would never run into each other. Like the only way that they worked and like why they were perfect for each other is that there never would have been like, oh, let's meet at the library, or like, let's go to get coffee. Like it has to be like, he didn't have a choice. Like she was just there. And so then she was like slowly, like not even meaning to, just tear down his walls and help him, deal with what he was going through. So one of my favorite tropes is that.
Awesome. Should you have crossover characters in your book from the other books in the series?
I do. So what's weird about I was in the first 3 books released, but my story takes place in season 2. So there's 2 more books in season 2, and it's the twins. So the twins are featured in my story quite a lot. They're like the older protective, brothers, best friends who are like, okay, so you're living with his sister, like, okay. Good. And so there's a lot of just like, they're there just putting pressure on Jonah, making fun of, the situation. And so they're in there a lot. And then just with the coach as well. And then there are mentions of other teammates, but just it was tough to try to incorporate one season and another season. And so just as a group, we kind of like, all right, season 2, we'll make sure that we cross over. And so the twins are going to be the biggest crossover. She lost both of her parents 2 or 3 years before the story takes place. And so how she kind of copes with things and how she kind of talks about grief and like comforting people is through food. And so like making sure people have snacks and like feeding them and like, oh, you're sad. Let's go get, like, I know this spot that has this great ice cream. We're going to go get it. And so I think that was really cool to have that be one of her character like traits. Like, that's who she is like, okay, comfort food. Like, you want a snack, like this will help you feel better. And so it was fun exploring that. And then with Jonah, he tries to do the same and like wants to like cook and help her. And so on some of the like bonus scenes or epilogue, or I think I did even like a 2 years later thing, like he tries to reciprocate and it just like blows up. Everything burns. Fire alarm goes off. And so it was, I like that food aspect a lot of them.
Oh, cool. All right. So what was the most fun that about writing in this series for you?
Oh my gosh. Meeting a ton of other authors that I have either heard of, just never connected with, or not even heard of. So that has been fantastic. Working with Sarina and her team has also just been amazing. I was just thanking them for all of the help, because while I do have books out, there are times where I still feel very much like a baby author. Like I'm still learning so much as we go, just about the whole process, marketing, even just these amazing graphics we have. And so the amount of things I have learned from this experience have just been incredible. So I'm always really grateful for this.
Yeah, she is. I mean, and I knew this before coming into her series, because I've been a fan of hers for years and years, and I knew how organized and she's a very business-like in her ability to get things done. But this just tops everything. She and her team are organized and on top of everything, and it made the process very easy for us writers.
Well, it is just baffling that, again, I wish writing was just like, sitting down and writing your story. There are a million things that go into it. And so being able to see that from behind the scenes of 45 authors, like there's 45 authors in these worlds. I'm stressed for myself. I can't even imagine. You have to be so on top of it to be able to, just even thinking about it. I'm like, I don't even know what I would just fall over.
Yep. Well, if you could recommend one of your books to a reader, which one would it be and why?
So I've been thinking about how to answer this one, because I think, so obviously my first book, right? It's just, I was comparing it to just my first year teaching. Like, you have that first group of kids is like your kids, like that first book you write is yours. But I think the first book where I didn't, and I don't want to say play it safe, because I'm proud of every book I've done, but Evening the Score was the first time that like I wrote a character I hated. Like the hero in that story was just, I wanted to create this like horrible person who's like unlikable, and then do every single thing I could to make him redeemable again. And so it's
hard. Yeah.
And I don't know if I just wanted to challenge myself, but that was the real, so that was my first real baseball, like MLB themed story, where I was like, again, asking my husband, like, what does it mean if you have to get, like, if you're injured or you have to get reassigned? And so it was kind of combining that, hey, so you have all this insider knowledge, and then I wanted to challenge myself. So it's definitely enemies to lovers. It is not for everyone, because again, he is awful, but but he does redeem himself. And so that was, again, that was my I'm really proud of that one, because that was the first time I was like, okay, like I did it. I redeemed him. I think I did. Again, not everyone would agree.
You must have done a pretty darn good job, because it was a winner of the best contemporary romance, right?
I freaked out when I got that. I probably squealed. Yeah, so
well, every right to. That's congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
then on top of that, then another one of your books also won an award. This was just for 2020 last year.
Yes. So it was. They came out in 2019, but the awards were last year. So. Yes, that one's so that was more erotic romance. That was the first time I've tried writing that.
Holdout has just been released. And also it's in audio, right?
Yes, this is my first audiobook. Awesome. So I lost my mind. I lost my mind hearing it. Like that was probably
who are the narrators?
Savannah Peachwood and Jason Clark.
Oh my gosh, big names.
Yeah, so I lost it. I was listening to it and just like running around my house, basically going, "Oh my God," and to my husband and just telling everyone I knew about it because they did so good.
Well, I love, as an author, when you hear, the title being narrated and then by, and your author name, it's like, oh my God, that's my word. They're my words. And so I hear you.
It was cool. A freak out, like top 3 best author moments ever. It might even be the top 1 at this point, to be honest, because that was just unreal. But what's crazy right now is of how release schedules work. I have another release in 3 weeks that I'm now gearing up for, which is a book 2, again, standalone, and another Enemies to Lovers. I like writing that. I think the tension is fun, and
it's good tension, yeah.
That one is a non-sports romance. It's called the Shut Up and Kiss Me series. So I don't have so this is the first book in the series. So again, this is a college-based romance where she interns for the college football team. And then obviously falls for the boss, but she's not going to do anything like that because her internship has to finish. And so it's book 2 in that, and it's her best friend is the book 2 for that.
Very cool. All right. Well, Jaqueline, where can readers find you?
So my website is just jaquelinesnowe.com. And then I am all over Instagram and Twitter. I probably spend way too much time on both of them. So definitely when I get those notifications every week of your screen time, and I'm like, that's honestly rude. I did not ask to get these because I don't need to know how much time I'm spending on social media. Thank you.
Tell me. It was a pleasure speaking with you and learning about, your career and where you started, and look at you now and how well you're doing and award winning, and now and part of the shared world with Sarina Bowen. So congratulations on all of that.
Thank you so much.
And that's it, folks. Thank you so much to Jaqueline Snowe for being my very first interview with the World of True North series. And please do check out her new book, Holdout, part of the MooU line. I have lots more to come, including more authors from the MooU series, as well as the Vino and Veritas, which is next up in the World of True North release. So stick around, come back for more interviews with authors. And until then, make sure to be sweet, love hard, and read dirty. See you soon.